Welcome. I'm Mayor Gary Sullivan. With me today is Jaylene Rousseau, Corporate Services Coordinator for the City of Revelstoke. As you know, Jaylene, adequate and affordable housing is an issue here in Revelstoke, as it is across the country. The City of Revelstoke is searching for solutions, and today you and I are talking about Housing Solutions Project Management Plan. Man, what a mouthful. An initiative that you're leading for the city. Jaylene, can you explain to our audience what the Housing Solutions Project Management Plan is?
You bet. So as you mentioned, housing is an issue in communities across the country. And so there's a lot of issues related to housing that everybody's experiencing, but there are local aspects that are making each community's challenges unique.
Right.
And so the plan is an effort to kind of conduct a fact-finding mission to really understand what's happening in our community in Revelstoke with housing, specifically with a lens on the housing supply chain. So the housing issue isn't just caused by one factor, and it won't be solved by just one entity.
Right.
There's a lot of players involved. There's regulatory aspects that come down from the province and also from us at the city. There's the building component, there's the development component, there's the nonprofit component. And so we want to get a lens that looks at all of those players in the local housing supply chain to understand where are the issues, where's the challenges, what's working, where are the gaps, and how as a city we can move forward with initiatives that are going to be effective and efficient to improving the housing situation locally here in Revelstoke.
So when we look at that sort of thing, we basically are looking at that holistic approach, but we're looking at it in a way so that we can actually get things done correctly, but also in an efficient way so that we're speeding up the process. Can I say that?
You totally can. And I will say that in the last 2 to 4 years, the city's put in a lot of effort and completed a lot of projects that have tried to improve the housing supply situation here locally. We're going to be taking some information to council in the coming weeks that will provide an overview of what the situation is and what the tools the city has put in place to help improve the situation. However, as many communities are grappling with this, right, they're trying to improve multiple aspects of the housing situation. And we want to take just a little bit of a pause to say, okay, we've done all of this work here. What is the next step to really make sure we're effective and we're making a coordinated approach and we're supporting our local housing supply partners?
That's awesome. Great. Thanks. So really, what are the outcomes that you and your team are hoping to achieve with this plan? I know that we've talked about most of that, but is there a set outcome that you feel that we should achieve so that we can actually move forward?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, no matter what we find at the conclusion of this project, what are the best next steps for the city to participate in the housing solution given our resources? We expect at the end of this process to have improved relationships with our partners and a better understanding of the housing supply chain climate here locally. And then once we understand that, and we'll educate ourselves, we're going to educate council on what the situation is. And we're also going to educate our partners on what their strengths are so that we can draw on each other's strengths and be more effective. So that's bare minimum. But the ultimate objective is to understand that situation and then say, okay, council, here's the situation, here's the resources we have, here's our options for next steps. Help us to focus our efforts on those next steps. And one of the most important things that will help guide that we're going to be doing in the early new year is council housing goals and priorities workshop,
right,
so that council can help staff understand exactly where to focus their energies. And then within that lens, we'll have engaged with our community partners and we'll have understood what our resources are, and then we can have better targets on housing solutions.
Perfect. Good. So how will the plan help the city move forward on affordable housing? So you've mentioned a lot of stuff will come to council. You're going to give some direction to council as to what our options are. And then basically council will make some decisions based on your advice as to what we go forward. Am I correct on that?
Mostly, yes. So it's not just advice so much as laying out all the facts
Right.
and saying, here's the situation. This is how we can or can't move forward. And I just want to clarify the term affordable housing is a sticky one.
Yeah.
We actually don't like to use affordable housing. We prefer to use non-market housing. And the reason for that is what someone who works at the bookstore versus someone who works at Downey versus someone who runs the ski hill or some other commercial entity in the community, what's affordable to them is relative
Sure.
to their situation. It's also relative to where you live. So it's not really a good term to use because it doesn't get at the heart of the matter. Really, the heart of the matter is people are having challenges with the affordability at the market level. And it's happening across various income levels. And so that's one of the things with this project that I think is important as well. We're not just looking at a single area of affordability. We're looking all the way across from very low income to moderate to middle. Where are the gaps? Who needs the help? What kind of help do they need? What are we missing? Do we need more builders in the community? Do we need to improve our regulations? Do we need to amend some of the tools that we've enacted in the last couple of years? I mean, if you look at what communities are doing around the province, Revelstoke's an impressive leader. We've done a lot, and I actually just attended the Housing Central Conference in Vancouver, and listening to the other communities and what their struggles are, and the nonprofits, for example, in those locations, we're well ahead of the game. We've got a lot of tools in place to help the situation. And so I think council and the community will see that with this plan as well. We are leaders in this, and our next steps as we move forward is just going to propel us even more into a better leadership position.
That's awesome. And it's exciting to see that, we're on that cusp as we move things forward so that our residents will have a place to live. And that's really the gist of what we're trying to do, is finding housing for all people. And so thanks for what you're doing. We really appreciate your teams putting in all that work to make sure that we can say, okay, we now have housing. Are we going to accumulate and get there quickly? Not as quickly as we'd like to see, because we should have had this done years ago. But who knew that the economy in the world would end up being the way it is? So we're moving forward. Thank you for that. And I think that's great. So, Jaylene, thanks for joining me today. Housing is a continuing conversation as we look for ways to partner with the community to bring more housing stock online. This plan is a strong step forward, making sure the city's resources are put to work efficiently as we can do possible. Thanks as well to our audience for listening in. Be sure to watch a few minutes of our other videos on the City Facebook and YouTube, as well as Instagram accounts. Thank you again, Jaylene.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.